If you'd like to see more of our videos, hit the subscribe button to stay on top of the market news. Good morning, traders. Welcome to today's market review. This is Razak at CMtrading. Today, September 17th, 2020, and today is Friday morning. So looking at the highlights of the day, we're watching oil rally above $41 a barrel, and that's the first time it's done since a dip below $40. But first, let's take a look at the various markets. So there's no major economic events scheduled for today, but as we look at the various markets, we're looking at the Forex symbols. The South African Rand gain versus the US dollar, finally breaking that supportish level. Looking at the indices, the Nasdaq and the Dow Jones both bounce after a major sell-off. And we're going to take a look at the stocks as well. And looking at commodities, gold gains, while oil jumps to $41 as we mentioned. And lastly, looking at the stocks, it's weakness across the board. But the question is, will we get that bounce? And we may get it today. So let's take a look at the markets and see what we can expect from today's trading. So we're going to first take a look at the Euro USD at a 4-hour chart. You can see we've had a roller coaster of a ride this week. And for all intents and purposes, we're right back to where we were before the FOMC. Okay, we sold off all the way down to 1753, which was a subsequent support level, okay, on the downside, and then we finally rallied back to 1854. But like I said, all intents and purposes, we're really right back to where we were before this event. Okay, so nothing really said there or gained there. However, looking at the USD South African Rand, it finally broke that level. Okay, when we were saying finally broke that level, if we look at the chart right here, which is a daily chart, okay, of the South African Rand, we had that support level at 1641. And since before the pandemic, this is the first time that we're really breaking below it. Okay, it's 1615 right now. And so for all intents and purposes, we could get back to below 16 if we do break that to 1579. That's where my call is in terms of a further correction for the USD ZAR. So just be aware, okay, that although that we'll get there, we might not get there all in one day, but we will get there because it looks like once it's broke that 1641 support level, it does look like it's going to break it further down. Now, jumping commodities, gold finally firming up 1953 after selling off to that 1937. For all intents and purposes, we're trading in a range. Okay, now we've been in this range for quite some time. If we look at a 4-hour chart, you can see it a little bit better. Okay, we've been trading within this range for quite some time. Okay, since somewhat of a month ago, we've been between this 1967 and 1918 on the downside, a minor support level in 1935. You could see that. Okay, so for all intents and purposes, we're still consolidating in gold, really having no direction one way or another. Okay, and we don't look like we're firming up around our above limit, okay, to break out either. Okay, so something to consider looking at gold, just it's going to continue range bound trading. Now looking at oil, look at that massive rally we had over the past week already. Okay, from the beginning of the week until now, we've rallied to $41 from $37. Okay, that's over a $4 rally. Okay, that's over 10% of the price of per barrel of oil. Okay, now at these levels, we are hitting a minor resistance-ish level. You can't see it on a daily because it doesn't populate it, but we are hitting a resistance-ish level at 41.55. So that's my upper limit. Now jumping into the Dow Jones, we're looking at a 1-hour chart. Now, this has been somewhat of a roller coaster ride over the past 2 weeks. I mean, we capitulated all the way up to 29,000. We sold off quite aggressively to 27,200 and finally bouncing to 28,200-ish level. And now we're trading at 27,900. What I do want to bring to your attention is that the stocks as well are also trading somewhat on a diminished level. Okay, they have retraced a lot and they are getting beaten up, so it's something to consider, okay, as the market makes this correction. However, okay, and this is really the however point, there are a couple of stocks that can change the tide. Okay, but before we get to that, let's take a look at the Nasdaq as well. Okay, now it does look like it's bouncing off of that limit. Look at that. Okay, and with 11,000 is that support level, and we hit it several times here, as you can see, and not breaking below it. Okay, if we look at that, let's just color that up so you can see it a little bit clearer. That's the 11,000 level that we keep on hitting and not breaking below it. Okay, so that for now is a bona fide support level, and if we do get continued momentum, we could see ourselves actually bouncing further. However, we do need the stocks to follow through. And some of the major stocks are really not following through, but let's take a look at the various ones that are. Looking at Microsoft, didn't trade below this 200 level, okay, which is really an important level for the price of Microsoft. So I do expect it to bounce off of this area. The question is how much of a bounce are we going to get here? And that's really the telltale sign where we're going to be going into the balance of September and trading into October as well. However, looking at Amazon, it's really weak. 29.93 below the 3,000 level. We broke that trend line and haven't seen the light of day since then. Okay, so with that said, okay, we see that most of the stocks are getting weaker. If we look at Facebook as well, also trading all the way down to 246 a share. Okay, making an about face. But it is bouncing at that second support level, okay? When we look at some of the other stocks, we see that that's also happening. Looking at JP Morgan, which was relatively a strong stock, okay, and held ourselves above this $100, finally dips below $100, breaking that trend line as well, okay? So I do expect a bounce, okay? Possibly that trend line will now become a resistance level for a subsequent correction going into October, November. Now, we are in the time of year where the markets generally sell off. So be aware of that, okay? That's a really important factor, that it is a time of the year where the markets sell off. So I'm more thinking short than long, okay, at this particular situation where we are in the year. Okay, so especially since we're going into an election year, and also the fact that the pandemic is still hovering amongst and going up and down, okay, amongst various countries. So these are all factors to consider going into the next couple of weeks of trading. This is Fred Razak. I want to wish you guys a great trading day. Thank you.